in general, they're overall doing well, but then something irritates their body.
To go back to some other questions that we got from our community, another one was, what is leaky gut and how do we know if we have it?
Wow, what a great question too. Leaky gut is the idea that the cells in the lining of our intestines that are designed to protect us at their baseline are really, really tightly formed cells that make almost like an armor between our external environment, like foods we eat and things that get into our intestines, and from that getting absorbed into the body and causing trouble. Now, if someone has an inflamed gut, either from a primary gut problem, like ulcerative colitis or, Crohn's or whatever else, or if their gut's been bothered by a lot of inflammatory foods, it makes those defending tight cells that are all making that armor along the gut become penetrable. We call it leaky gut because these cells literally cause microscopic openings into the intestines that let certain things into our body that aren't supposed to be there. And although we're still working on research to understand this better, there's certain food types that are known to be common food triggers for migraine, things that have been talked about for decades in the headache community. But on a separate note, there are certain foods that we think with constant exposure over the course of weeks and months irritate the gut over the course of time and make people more prone to have migraine, not the day they eat the food, but over the course of weeks and months. And these are the foods that are ubiquitous in our diet, meaning they're all over the place. And I know it sounds trendy, but the top foods for this include wheat, and which is gluten for some people, and dairy, and egg, and corn. So if we have people who have a lot of gut problems, we'll sometimes ask them to go gluten-free for 4 weeks, or egg-free for 2 to 3 weeks, or dairy-free for 2 to 3 weeks, just to see if it helps them overall feel better. There's even some blood tests that can be done that screen for food sensitivities, not food allergies, a whole different issue, but food sensitivities, which means it can irritate the gut over the course of time, irritate your immune system over the time, and that can be helpful in some situations. And that's known as an IgG-based food sensitivity test.
Well, as I mentioned, our community sends us questions, and Andrea asked, is there any new information supporting tests like GI 360 gut microbiome test if we have migraine? I know you also mentioned the IgG test that may be appropriate in some cases as well.
Yeah, great question, Wendy. Let me separate those out. So the first thing is the test I referenced earlier, the IgG food sensitivity test, has nothing to do directly with the microbiome and more about what type of immune response certain foods can trigger over the course of time of constant exposure. Now, the second test that you just mentioned is trying to screen people's microbiomes to figure out where the discrepancies might be to try to help balance it out for people. And here's the thing, I think there's so much promise that's available with that type of test, but I don't think we're sophisticated yet enough to know what to make out of those tests. So I've had patients do those before that say, what do you think? Which probiotic should I be on? And I don't think we're quite there yet to be able to identify you need to take just this one type of microbiome supplement to help it get better. We typically recommend, if someone's going down the probiotic pathway, to be on a multi-species, multi-billion count, high quality probiotic. And unfortunately, I'm not able to give people more defined approaches for that based on testing.